Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haikal bin Muhammad Faizal. My number ID BMH 22030110. So today I'm gonna present about halal assurance management and about the HCP halal critical point. So for this table of content, what we can get is step in identify halal control point, HCP risk, which is halal control point, risk management plan summary, and outcomes that have learned after I have completed this task, which is HAS manual. So firstly, what is HCP? The HCP, or we call as halal control point, which is step or procedure in halal industry for process flow where it can be controlled, applied with halal requirement to prevent any halal cross contamination in food product. So for the first steps in identify halal critical point is number 1, which is identify process flow. Number 2, analyze the 4 types of halal threats. Number 3, make a risk ranking according to HCP risk matters. Number 4, classify likelihood or severity impact. And number 5, which is make a decision using the HCP decision rules. So firstly, I'm going to show you 4 types of halal threats, which is come from raw material, people, machinery equipment, or environment. So next, as you can see in this slide, we have data for halal critical point or risk matrix. For this data that we can get from the HCP data, so for the severity impact of moderate, have been shown. Significant state as number 7, moderate as number 5, and low as number 3. For the critical impact and the likelihood, which is state by high as number 9, significant number 8, and moderate number 6. And next, as I have shown you in this slide, halalan thayyiban control point likelihood ranking. For this section or this slide, I will explain to you about how to identify the mean of data that I have shown you before. So for the likely, the description is the possibility of halal status affected expect to occur in most circumstances. Common or repeat occurrence has happened before several times. For the moderate, the description, which is mean the possibility of halal status effect might occur sometimes, known to occur, happened before. For the unlikely, the possibility of halal status effect could occur in exceptional circumstance or practically impossible. So next, the halalan control point severity of impact ranking, which is the mean of the description about most critical, moderate, and significant, which is the first critical, or we can describe as the potential contaminant or non-halal or detrimental mudarat substance affect the totality of halalan status of the good and cargo of the halalan status for the goods cannot be salvaged. Release of the good or cargo will result in loss of trust from customer, public, and authorities. And last, may cause great impact for future business transaction. For the moderate, which is the description, means the potential contaminant or non-halal or detrimental mudarat substance have affects the halal status for the products, and the halal status of the products could be salvaged, and they may result in delay of delivery of shipment and potential loss of future contracts, possible loss of public trust. For the insignificant, there is no impact on the halalan status of the goods or the products. So for our company, which is I have stated to you there are 5 HCP that have been analyzed or identified in the process flow of our product chili lado sendirian berhad, which is first step of, or we call as first HCP halal control point that we have been determined, which is the first step is research and development, or we call as R&D. For the R&D that we have been analyzed, there are potential contaminant or precursor which is come from material. That material used maybe comes from non-halal origin, and that can affect a halal status of our products. For the rationale for exclusion as potential or contaminant precursor, for the exclusion that we have been list, which is the raw material that must have halal certification and inspect before use. For the evaluation of the likelihood and severity impact of the potential contaminant or precursor, for the likelihood we are labeled as unlikely. For the severity we have labeled as critical, and risk ranking we have stated as number 6. For the control measures, we are ensure there is no outside or unknown raw material used in our production. For the halal dan toyiban critical control point or HCCP, we have state or label as no. The next or second HCCP, which is come from selection of supplier process. The list of potential contaminant precursor, which is that may halal threats may happen, comes from people, which is the purchaser may choosing wrong the supplier for the raw materials that we will be used in our product. For the inclusion, halal executive and quality control person in charge always have to check the raw materials condition upon arrival. For the likelihood, we have stated the likely, severity, moderate, and risk ranking as number 7. For the control measures, we have established the purchasing manager needs to be thorough in choosing suppliers to get quality raw materials. For the HCCP, we have stated as yes. For the third process purchasing, we have identified the main cross-contamination comes from the people, which is purchaser wrongly purchase goods from supplier. The inclusion is the purchaser accidentally ordered the wrong materials from the supplier. For the likelihood, we have stated as unlikely. For the severity as moderate, and risk ranking we have stated as number 5. For the control measures, the purchaser should ensure an alert about raw materials that have purchased is correct and in high quality. For the HCCP, we have stated as no. For the next SCP, which comes from packaging and labeling process, list of the for the potential of precursor that may happen or may cause the cross-contamination, which is come from machine and equipment. For the inclusion, there are inappropriate features such as sexy picture on the packaging can lead to be revoked, or inappropriate design of packaging that have some nonsense shape for the bottle of the products. For the likelihood, we have stated as unlikely. For the severity, we have stated as unlikely, and risk ranking as number 1. For the control measures, we don't have any explanation for the control measures. For the halal toyiban or HCCP, we have stated as no. For the next HCP, which is finished group products, the potential of the can happen any cross contamination comes from machine equipment, which is trolley and pallet using that we use in our production chili lado berhad, which is come from lubricant and from a haram source. For the inclusion, the presence of halal material and pests may take the halal certification can be suspended. For the likelihood, we have stated as likely. stability, moderate, and risk thinking as number 7. The control measure, we don't have any explanation for this HCP, and the HCCP that we have analyzed as yes. For the next, in the outcomes that I have learned after completing HAS manual, that I have understand each process flow with the halal control point. And also, as I have gained more knowledge about halal threats that may occur cross-contamination. And lastly, I have learned to become the auditor that related with halal compliance for the lastly. So that's all from me, Haikal Faizal. I will present to you about the halal assurance management for the Chili Ladu Sendirian Muhd. That's all from me. Thank you.